Consistency is the secret that separates those who reach their goals from those who give up. But staying consistent isn't easy. There will be times when motivation disappears, doubts take over, or progress feels invisible. You might feel like quitting or getting distracted by easier options. This video shares 10 powerful secrets to help you stay committed no matter what happens. These are real strategies you can use every day to keep pushing forward even when it's tough. If you want to build habits that last and create lasting success, this message is for you. Listen closely, because learning how to stay consistent will change how you approach your goals and how far you can go in life. Keep watching and discover how to overcome the biggest challenges standing between you and your dreams. Now let's dive in. Number 1, commit fully even when you feel no motivation. Commitment is not a feeling, it's a decision. It's something you do with your whole mind, your whole body, and your whole heart. And it has to happen whether the weather is good or bad, whether the crowd is cheering or quiet, whether you feel like it or not. That's what commitment really is. When you make a promise to yourself, especially in silence, it becomes your duty to keep it alive. Not because someone's watching, not because the world is counting, but because you said you would. That's where strength is born. There will be days when you feel like doing nothing. There will be mornings when you wake up and everything inside you says not today. Your energy feels low. Your mood feels off. Nothing excites you, and in those moments, your mind will look for an easy way out. It'll try to convince you that maybe today is not the day to push, that you can get back on track tomorrow. But here's the truth. It's what you do on those days that shapes your future. You have to understand this. People don't fail because they didn't know what to do. They fail because they didn't do what they already knew. Consistency is not about feeling fired up every morning. That's a myth. Nobody wakes up every day with sky-high energy and overflowing inspiration. Not even the most successful people you look up to. What separates them is this: they show up anyway. You've got to stop waiting for the right mood. You've got to stop looking for a spark to get started. Motivation may help you begin, but it will not carry you. It's commitment that holds you up. When motivation disappears, and trust me, it will disappear often. That's why you have to build your life on something more solid. Think about a time in your life when you really wanted something. Maybe you wanted to change your body. Maybe you wanted to build a skill. Maybe you were tired of living in a situation that didn't match who you really were. And you said to yourself, this time, I'm serious. But what happened after that? Did you only move forward when the mood was right? Or did you push through on the days you felt nothing? If you push through even once, then you already understand the power I'm talking about. Most people live their lives based on how they feel. If they feel good, they do the work. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel excited, they go all in. If they feel discouraged, they back off. But living like that means your progress depends on your feelings. And feelings are not reliable. They change every hour. You cannot build a strong life on something that constantly changes. Commitment is the agreement you make with your future self. You're saying, I will show up no matter what. I will do what's required, even when I feel like doing nothing. I will keep my word to myself. That's how you earn trust in yourself. That's how you build self-respect. Every time you show up when you didn't feel like it, you're sending yourself a message. I can count on me. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. Being consistent doesn't mean doing everything right all the time. It means doing something right most of the time. It means showing up again and again, even if it's messy, even if it's small. That builds momentum. That creates progress. And that's how long-term change is made. There will be days when the world seems heavy. There will be times when you feel like no one understands how hard it is for you. You might feel alone in your struggle, but those are the exact moments when your commitment matters the most. Not because the world expects you to keep going, but because deep inside you know that quitting now will only bring regret. You owe it to yourself to push through the days when your mind says stop. You owe it to your future to take action even when everything feels flat. Motivation is a luxury. Commitment is survival. You can't wait for energy. You can't wait for clarity. You've got to act now and let those feelings catch up later. And let me say something that most people avoid. You're not always going to feel proud. You're not always going to feel excited. You may do the right thing and still feel empty. That doesn't mean what you're doing isn't working. It just means you're in a season where consistency is more important than any reward. Trust that the reward will come, but don't demand it right now. Keep your head down. Keep moving. Stay in the process. You become stronger each time you honor your commitment without waiting for permission or inspiration. It's not about speed. It's about direction. You don't have to make massive moves every day, but you do need to make real moves every day. Even the smallest step in the right direction is better than standing still waiting for motivation to return. The people who go the distance in life are not the ones who had the most resources or the easiest path. They're the ones who refused to give up on the hard day. They're the ones who kept doing the work long after the excitement wore off. They found meaning in the routine. They found power in showing up. You can live that way too. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need perfect conditions. All you need is the willingness to do what must be done, especially when you least feel like it. That's when it counts. That's when real growth is happening. So next time you feel the resistance, next time you wake up and the weight of the world feels like too much, remind yourself of this one truth. Your feelings don't decide your actions. Your commitment does. Stand up anyway. Move forward anyway. Do the work anyway. That's how you rise. That's how you become consistent. That's how you create a life that finally feels real. Keep doing the hard things, even when no one claps for you. Keep following through, even when progress moves slow. That's what makes the difference between a life of regret and a life of fulfillment. Number 2, take action daily, even when results feel slow. Progress does not always show up in ways you can see. There will be long stretches where your efforts feel unnoticed, where your steps feel small, where the mirror reflects no change, and your numbers stay still. But that does not mean your actions are worthless. It means you are building something that takes time. You are developing the strength most people give up on before it's formed. You are choosing to keep going even when the rewards are not immediate. That is where true growth begins. You don't need big wins every day to prove you're improving. You need the habit of showing up no matter what. The world does not reward random efforts. It rewards sustained effort over time. That means doing the work, even when the work feels invisible. It means putting your energy into something that might not pay off today or tomorrow, but will shape your future if you stay with it. That is the test of your character. Many people start strong. They're excited in the beginning. Their energy is high, and their goals feel close. But a few days or weeks in, they don't see the change they expected. Their progress is slower than they imagined. Doubt begins to creep in. They start asking themselves if it's even worth it. They wonder if they're wasting time. That's where most people stop. But that's exactly where you must continue. Taking daily action is not about instant change. It's about long-term direction. When you do something every single day, even if the impact is small, you are sending a message to your mind that this matters. You are training yourself to stay focused when nothing around you feels exciting. You are learning how to be steady in a world that only celebrates fast success. And that steadiness is what sets you apart. There is power in quiet persistence. You might not get recognition. You might not get praise. But every day you keep going, you build a layer of discipline that cannot be taken from you. The person who keeps showing up through the silence becomes unshakable. While others wait for conditions to improve, you keep moving. While others search for proof, you create it one day at a time. It's easy to stay consistent when everything is going well. But your real test comes when there's no applause. When you're putting in the work and nothing seems to be happening, that's the moment that defines who you are. Will you keep going without results? Will you choose discipline over doubt? Will you continue the process when there's no immediate feedback? That's what it means to be committed. Action creates momentum. Even if it feels small at first, even if it feels like nothing is changing, you are still moving. Each day you act, you close the gap between who you are and who you want to become. You start building confidence, not from outside results, but from the inside out. Because you know you did your part. You know you didn't wait. You showed up, and that matters. Waiting for results before you take your next step keeps you stuck. But when you act, regardless of what you see, you begin to lead your life from a place of purpose, not emotion. That shift changes everything. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop measuring every move by what it produces today, and you start trusting the process you committed to. Every successful person you admire has gone through long seasons of quiet effort, times when nothing seemed to be working, times when people doubted them or forgot them, but they stayed with the work. They didn't need fast validation to know they were on the right path. They kept doing what needed to be done until the results finally showed up. You must do the same. If you are serious about building something real, you must let go of the idea that change happens fast. Fast results are rare and usually shallow. Deep change is built through repetition, through showing up every single day. When no one sees you, when no one cheers you on, when progress is slow and your patience is tested. That is how strong foundations are built. Every day you take action, you grow. Not always in the way you expected, but you grow in focus, you grow in resilience, you grow in trust. And those things last far longer than temporary results. You are not just working for outcomes. You are becoming someone who follows through, someone who honors their goals with action, even when there is no reward in sight. This is how you separate yourself. Most people only move when they see progress. But you move because you made a decision. You move because you believe in where you're going. Even when the surface looks still, there is movement happening. Underneath, every effort is planting something. Even if you can't see it yet, it's working. The change is happening in silence. Taking action daily is not about chasing excitement. It's about becoming reliable. Becoming someone whose word means something. You said you would do it, and you are doing it. That simple truth carries weight. It gives you a reason to respect yourself, even if no one else notices, because you are building consistency in a world full of shortcuts. You cannot skip the slow days. You cannot rush the invisible work. What you are doing matters, even if today looks the same as yesterday, even if your energy is low, even if the scale doesn't move or the numbers don't shift. What matters is that you did what you said you would, that you didn't wait for a better mood or a faster payoff. You acted. You chose discipline. That is rare. That is powerful. Keep taking action not because it's easy, but because it's right. Keep doing the work, not because the results are instant, but because you are committed. The difference between the person who grows and the one who stays stuck is simple. One keeps going even when the results feel slow. Number 3. Push forward, even when no one believes you. There comes a time when you have to walk alone. Not because you want to, but because the people around you cannot see what you see. They might doubt your path. They might question your decisions. They might not understand the dream you carry inside. That is not your burden to fix. You are not responsible for making others believe in you. Your job is to keep moving forward even when the room is silent, even when the support is missing, even when your progress is questioned. Because if you stop every time someone doesn't believe in you, you will never move far in life. Many people never start because they're waiting for approval. They want someone to validate their idea, to give them a green light, to say yes. You're right. Go ahead. We believe in you. But life doesn't work that way. The people who reach their goals are not always the most talented or the most liked. They are the ones who kept showing up when nobody clapped. They kept building when the crowd left. They didn't stop to prove a point. They kept moving to make progress. You must learn to rely on yourself. There will be seasons where no one understands your drive. People will look at you and wonder why you're working so hard, why you're sacrificing comfort, why you're trying to create something different. They will question your effort because they cannot imagine your vision. You cannot expect someone to support a dream that wasn't given to them. It was given to you. That means it's your responsibility to protect it. Sometimes the disbelief comes from strangers. Sometimes it comes from close friends. Sometimes it even comes from family. That can hurt more than anything. But even then, you must keep going. You have to understand that your journey is not a group project. Not everyone will walk with you. Not everyone will believe in what you're becoming. That's okay. What matters is that you believe enough to take the next step. Without them, you are going to meet resistance. Some will doubt you silently. Some will say it to your face. Some will smile but still not believe. Do not waste your energy convincing them. That is not your job. Your job is to keep showing up. Let your actions speak. Let your growth speak. Let your results speak. People notice even when they don't say anything. And when the time comes, they'll ask how you did it. But you won't owe them an explanation. You'll owe yourself the peace of knowing you kept going. Belief is not something you borrow from others. It is something you build within. You build it by proving to yourself that you can stay the course. Every time you keep working in silence. Every time you stay focused. When people ignore you, you are adding to your own belief. That belief becomes your fuel. Not pride, not anger, just quiet strength. That says, I am not done yet. You don't need everyone's support to become someone powerful. You don't need praise to validate your effort. If you spend your life chasing approval, you'll lose your direction. But if you learn to stand firm in your own reason, your own values, your own discipline, then nothing outside you can break your pace. You don't have to make noise to make an impact. You just have to stay true to what you know you're meant to do. There are people who will only believe in you after you succeed. They wait for the results before they respect the process. Do not let those people decide how hard you work. If you keep waiting for someone to believe before you move, you will stay stuck. The belief you're searching for must start inside you. If no one believes right now, you believe twice as much. If they laugh, you focus. If they leave, you continue. Because in the end, your life will reflect the work you did not, the opinions they had. There will be days when the doubt is loud, not just around you, but inside you. The voice in your own head will ask if you're good enough. It will whisper that maybe they're right. Maybe this won't work. Maybe you should stop. That voice is the real challenge. And the only way to quiet it is to act. Keep doing what you promised yourself. Keep showing up. When it's easier to hide, each time you do, you take back control from that voice. Success doesn't come to those who wait for perfect support. It comes to those who continue without it. There's strength in choosing yourself. There's clarity in doing the work, no matter who is watching. You begin to realize that your progress was never about them. It was always about what you were willing to fight for, what you were willing to keep alive even in the dark, even in the quiet. When you push forward without applause, you build resilience. When you keep moving without praise, you build independence. When you rise without validation, you become someone who leads, not someone who follows. And that kind of person is unstoppable because they've already learned how to move through doubt. They've already trained themselves to keep going without comfort. Nobody can take away your effort. Nobody can erase the hours you put in. That is yours. That is real. And that becomes part of who you are. People might ignore your path now, but one day they will notice your results. Until then, don't pause your progress to seek attention. Focus on your next step. Protect your energy. Use every bit of disbelief as fuel, not frustration. The people who don't believe in you are not your enemy. They are just not your source. Don't confuse the two. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to win them over. You need to do what you said you would do. The ones who are meant to walk with you will eventually catch up. The rest were never meant to understand. Keep building, keep pushing. Not because it's easy, not because they see you, but because you know what it means to you. You know what it costs to stop. You know how it feels to give up. And you've decided that this time you won't. You're not doing it for attention. You're not doing it for light. You're doing it because you've decided that the life you want is worth every step you take in silence. Number 4, choose discipline every day, no matter how hard. Discipline is the difference between wanting and having. It's not something you wait to feel. It's something you decide to do. Every morning gives you a chance to choose how your day will go. You can let comfort win, or you can let discipline lead. Discipline is uncomfortable, but it's the only path that builds anything real. You don't develop it once and have it forever. You develop it by choosing it again and again, especially when everything in you wants to take the easy way out. There's always a choice between doing what feels good now and doing what leads what you want most. The person who chooses discipline is the person who understands that freedom comes from responsibility. You don't get stronger by skipping the hard things. You get stronger by doing them anyway. Every act of discipline you practice adds another layer to your character. It makes you harder to break. It makes you more reliable. It teaches you to take control of your own life, instead of letting your moods decide your future. Most people quit not because they don't have the time or the resources, but because they never trained their minds to choose discipline. When it counted, they gave up when it got uncomfortable. They stopped when it stopped being fun. But anything worth building will challenge you. It will stretch you. And the only way you stay in it is by choosing discipline, even when your mind gives you a dozen reasons to walk away. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about staying in the fight. It's about sticking to what matters, even when your motivation drops. It's about doing the small, unexciting things that nobody sees, but everyone notices when they pay off. You don't need a perfect schedule. You don't need to feel amazing every day. You need a reason that is strong enough to keep you locked in even when everything around you feels chaotic. When you avoid discipline, you delay your growth. You push back your results. You rob yourself of progress that could have been yours. Skipping one day becomes 2. Missing one step becomes a pattern. And before you know it, you're back where you started, wondering why things still haven't changed. The truth is, nothing changes until you do. And nothing inside you changes until you start showing up when it's difficult. Choosing discipline every day means waking up and doing what's required, not what's convenient. It means respecting your goals enough to follow through even when no one's watching. It means making decisions based on values, not feelings. The path is not always exciting. In fact, most days are ordinary. But when you stay committed in those ordinary days, you create an extraordinary life. The hard part about discipline is it doesn't give you results right away. It's not fast. It doesn't always feel rewarding, but it always works. It's working every time you say no to distraction. It's working every time you stick to your habit. It's working every time you stay focused. When it would be easier to scroll, waste time, or escape into comfort. You don't always see it right away. But one day, you look back and realize you're not the same person anymore. You can either suffer the pain of discipline or the weight of regret. One is hard now. The other is hard forever. When you say yes to discipline, you say yes to your future. You say yes to your strength. You say yes to your potential. But when you say no to discipline, you say yes to staying the same. And deep down, you know you were not meant to stay the same. You were meant to evolve. Nobody is born with perfect discipline. It's a skill. And like any skill, it has to be practiced. You get better at it by doing it. Not reading about it, not talking about it, but actually putting yourself in uncomfortable positions and staying there until your mind adapts. Each time you follow through, you make the next time easier. You show your brain that quitting is not an option. You can't afford to let laziness steal your time. You can't afford to let excuses run your day. There is too much in you to live life halfway. You are not built for average. But to escape average, you have to be willing to do what average people avoid. You have to show up when it's cold outside, when your body is tired, when your schedule is full. That's how you separate yourself. When things get hard, that's your signal to double down, not to back off. Hard means you're being challenged. It means you're being tested. It means you are being given a chance to grow. Don't run from that. Run toward it. Lean into it. Let difficulty refine you, not break you. That's what discipline does. It teaches you how to stay strong under pressure. Every day you have a choice. Will you do the thing you said you would, or will you delay it again? Will you honor your goals, or will you betray them? Discipline is about integrity. It's about keeping the promises you made to yourself, even when the mood has faded. It's about leading yourself, because the truth is, nobody else is going to save you. Nobody else is going to do it for you. There will always be temptations. You'll always have distractions. Life will always try to pull you away from what matters. But if you build the habit of choosing discipline, you create a shield that protects your priorities. You learn how to stay focused when others drift. You learn how to take charge when things get messy. That kind of power is earned. It's not given. You don't have to be the smartest or the strongest. You just have to be the most consistent. And that consistency is built on discipline. Not sometimes, not when it's easy, but every single day. Whether you feel like it or not, whether anyone is watching or not, whether you're tired or fresh, whether the results show up or not. Discipline says do it anyway. That's what changes everything. Number 5. Show up strong, even when you feel like quitting. There will be days when everything feels heavier than usual, when your body is tired, your mind is restless, and your heart is unsure. On those days, quitting will feel like the easiest option. It will seem like the only way to stop the pressure, the doubt, the internal noise that tells you to back down. But those are the exact moments when you must stand taller than before. Not because you feel ready, but because the person you want to become is built in the moments you refuse to give in. When you feel like quitting, it means you are on the edge of growth. It means something inside you is stretching. Growth isn't painless. It demands more than most people are willing to give. And the moment your mind starts looking for an exit, that's when your strength must rise. That's when you dig deeper. Not because you enjoy the struggle, but because you've committed to finishing what you started. The feeling of wanting to quit is not a sign of weakness. It's a signal that the path you're on is difficult and meaningful. Nothing worth keeping comes without resistance. You show up strong by doing what's necessary, not by waiting for everything to feel right. Feelings change, but action creates power. Every time you choose to continue, you are training your mind to fight for what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. There is something powerful about standing up when it would be easier to lie down, about walking forward when standing still feels safer. That moment when you make a decision to keep going is when you start gaining real control over your life. Not control over the world around you, but over yourself. Your choices, your reactions, your direction. And that kind of control cannot be taken from you. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. What you need is the will to keep your word. You promised yourself you'd show up. That promise matters more than the discomfort, more than the excuses, more than the momentary emotion, pulling you in the opposite direction. When your actions align with your commitment, even your weakest days can become turning points. Most people only give their best when things are going well, when they feel energized, supported, and hopeful. But life doesn't always offer those conditions. Life tests your ability to stay firm when things are unclear. When you keep showing up strong, even when you're not okay, inside you build resilience. You become someone who doesn't fall apart every time pressure rises. You will not always get rewarded right away for staying in the fight. You may not hear applause. You may not see immediate results, but you will grow. You will rise, and you will begin to respect yourself on a deeper level, because you know what it took to keep going. That inner respect is more powerful than any praise from the outside. Think about all the times you wanted to give up but didn't. Think about how far you've come just by choosing to stay one more day, one more task, one more step forward. That decision might not feel exciting, but it's the foundation of every victory. The strongest people are not the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who built the habit of staying steady through storms. Quitting always seems easier in the moment, but what it leaves behind is hard to carry. Regret lasts longer than effort. When you quit on something that matters to you, you don't just walk away from a goal, you walk away from part of yourself. That's why showing up strong matters most when your heart feels tired. That's when the decision defines you. There is power in simply showing up. Even if your pace is slow, even if your hands shake, even if your voice is unsure, showing up strong means you refuse to be guided by fear or fatigue. It means you are willing to face the hard days with courage. You don't wait for ideal conditions. You work through the chaos and come out stronger on the other side. You may think no one notices your silent battles, but those moments shape your identity. You are becoming someone who doesn't fold under stress. Someone who doesn't run when it gets uncomfortable. Someone who stands tall when everything inside says step back. That kind of strength comes from repetition, from facing the voice that says quit and answering back with action. Every time you show up when quitting feels right, you teach yourself that emotions do not control your outcomes. That self-pity doesn't get the final word. That disappointment doesn't get to decide your direction. You stop living reactively. You start living with purpose. You start leading yourself with intention. And that creates momentum nothing else can match. There is no straight path to success. There are detours, setbacks, and delays. There are moments when you feel like you're moving in circles. But in those moments, if you show up with all you've got, even if it's not much, you break through the mental walls that keep most people stuck. You create evidence that you are not the same person you used to be. Your mind will try to protect you from discomfort. It will offer reasons to back away. It will tell you to wait, to rest, to try later. But growth demands that you take action, even when your thoughts tell you to stop. The strength to override that voice is built by practicing it daily, by choosing effort over escape, one hard moment at a time. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be persistent. Consistency under pressure is what creates transformation. Each time you continue, you are reprogramming your mindset. You are replacing hesitation with certainty, doubt with clarity, fear with progress. Even the smallest act of strength compounds over time into something unstoppable. You are not weak for wanting to quit. You are human, but you are also capable of much more than you've seen. Your limits are tested so you can find out how far you can go. When you prove to yourself that quitting is not an option, you give yourself freedom. The freedom to rise above moods. The freedom to depend on yourself. The freedom to keep moving when others sit down. That kind of freedom is only earned through repetition, through daily strength, through quiet courage, through showing up strong again and again, even when everything inside you says. Number 6, control your emotions before they control your actions. So one of the hardest but most important things you'll ever do is learn how to manage your emotions before they manage your behavior. Because the truth is, your emotions are not always right. They might be real, they might be strong, but they don't always point you in the direction of growth. Sometimes they lead you straight into self-sabotage. If you don't pause and think clearly, and if you allow a temporary feeling to decide your next move, you might spend years undoing one moment of reaction. We all get angry, frustrated, overwhelmed, hurt, discouraged, confused. That's human. But emotional control is about what you do with those feelings. You can feel something without acting on it. You can sit with it, acknowledge it, and still choose a response that protects your goals, your relationships, and your peace. That takes practice. That takes self-awareness. That takes maturity. There are people who ruin opportunities simply because they didn't take a moment to breathe. There are people who damage relationships because they spoke from frustration instead of clarity. One outburst, one poor reaction, one reckless decision made in a moment of emotional chaos can push you off your path for months or years. That's why emotional discipline is not just useful. It's essential. You will never master consistency if you don't master your emotion, because consistency requires that you do what you said you would, regardless of how you feel in the moment. But if your feelings keep calling the shots, your commitment gets interrupted every time the day gets hard. Your plans fall apart every time someone disrespects you. Your progress slows down every time you feel misunderstood or offended. And the worst part is, you start believing that your emotions are in charge of your life. But they're not. You are. Learning to control your emotions doesn't mean you ignore them. It means you examine them. You ask, what triggered this? Why does it bother me so much? Is this the full truth? Or just my current perspective? And once you understand the feeling, you decide what action, if any, is worth taking. That gap between feeling and action is where your power lives. That space is where wise decisions are born. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is automatic. Responding is intentional. When you react, you give the feeling full control. When you respond, you pause long enough to decide whether that feeling deserves a seat at the table. Just because you're hurt doesn't mean you have to retaliate. Just because you're anxious doesn't mean you abandon the task. Just because you're mad doesn't mean you destroy everything you've been working for. You can feel deeply and still act wisely. Some of the most damaging decisions in life are made in seconds. Not because people are bad, but because they were emotional and unprepared. They didn't have a system for calming themselves. They didn't have the tools to pause and evaluate. They didn't know how to sit still when their emotions screamed for action. That's why training yourself to slow down is one of the most powerful disciplines you can build. How many times have you regretted something you said in anger? How many times have you made a decision in fear only to realize later that the fear was temporary? How many times have you walked away from something meaningful because you felt overwhelmed in a single moment? Those experiences are your proof. Feelings come and go, but actions create lasting consequences. You cannot let your emotions set the tone for your life, because emotions are tied to your environment. Your stress, your fatigue, your experiences, they're not always accurate reflections of reality. You might feel like you're failing, but that doesn't mean you are. You might feel like giving up, but that doesn't mean it's the right move. You might feel like nobody cares, but that could be the emotion of the moment, not the truth. Control means you recognize when your emotional state is pulling you in the wrong direction, and you stop to realign. You don't dismiss the emotion, but you don't hand over the steering wheel either. You remind yourself of the bigger picture. You remind yourself of your value. You remind yourself of the kind of person you are becoming. That reminder alone can save you from making decisions that bring more pain than progress. It's easy to say things like, I couldn't help it, or I just felt overwhelmed. But that kind of thinking makes you a prisoner to emotion. You weren't born to live at the mercy of what you feel. You were built to develop control. That's the mark of maturity. That's the sign of someone serious about their future. Your mind needs to be stronger than your mood, because your mood will change with the weather, with people's opinions, with how your day went. But your mission can't depend on that. If you don't control your emotions, you'll find yourself constantly starting over, apologizing for what you said, fixing what you broke, trying to undo the damage. That cycle can be avoided if you train yourself to pause. You build that control one moment at a time. You don't need to fix everything in one day, but you do need to start noticing the pattern. Start catching yourself before the reaction. Start asking better questions in the heat of the moment. Start creating a habit of waiting 30 seconds before speaking. When you're upset, these small practices lead to major transformation. Emotional control doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means you become intentional. You protect your energy. You protect your vision. You don't let outside chaos create inside destruction. You remain steady. You remain focused. You remain someone who doesn't crumble just because a feeling arrived uninvited. The strongest people are not those who feel nothing. They're the ones who feel everything but still act with wisdom. They don't run from emotions. They understand them. They hold space for them, but they don't build their decisions on them. They take full responsibility for how they respond. You have more power than your feelings suggest. You have more control than your emotions want you to believe. It starts with awareness. It continues with discipline. It grows through repetition. And one day you'll look back and realize that the version of you that used to break down is gone. And in its place stands someone who leads with intention, even when life gets messy. Number 7. Do what matters, especially when it feels boring. Most people lose their way not because they face something too hard, but because they stopped doing what worked, simply because it felt boring. They quit not in chaos, but in routine. In the plain, unexciting moments, where results come slow and repetition becomes tiring. But those who master consistency understand this one truth. Doing what matters is not always exciting. It's often repetitive. It's often dull. It's often quiet. But it works. And the only way to grow into someone reliable is by staying the course, even when that course feels slow and uninteresting. Every dream, every goal, every breakthrough is built on daily habits that aren't always fun. Getting better at something means doing the basics again and again until they become part of who you are. But boredom has a way of making people forget how progress really happens. It tricks them into thinking that if they're not feeling excited or fired up, then the work must not be worth it. That's the lie that kills growth. And if you want to rise above the average mindset, you have to commit to doing what's necessary even when your emotions are quiet. People chase excitement instead of consistency. They want to feel motivated all the time. They want new techniques, new tools, new strategies. But the truth is, what you need is rarely new. It's old. It's basic. It's what you already know but haven't done enough. The reason the results haven't come yet isn't because the method is broken. It's because you stopped when it got monotonous. You put it down when it stopped thrilling you. But success doesn't need thrills. It needs discipline. You don't become excellent by doing different things every week. You become excellent by doing the same things with care and effort until they create something great. When you train yourself to follow through even when the task feels flat, you begin to build endurance. Not physical endurance, but mental strength. The kind of strength that finishes what it starts, regardless of the atmosphere. The truth is, boredom is not a sign to quit. It's a sign you're doing something important over time. It means you've moved past the novelty stage. The first few days, anything can feel exciting. You set a goal, write a plan, and start with energy. But the deeper work begins when that excitement fades. That's when you see what you're really made of. Are you someone who only moves when it's fun? Or are you someone who honors the goal, no matter the mood? People often think their lack of motivation is the problem, but it's not. Motivation isn't supposed to carry you forever. It's a starting spark, not a lifelong flame. What really carries you through is understanding that doing what matters isn't always dramatic. It's showing up again, and again, and again. Not because you're excited, but because you care about your future more than you're feeling. Most of the progress you make won't feel like progress at all. You'll do the work, and you won't notice change. You'll put in the hours, and things will still look the same. But beneath the surface, your character is being formed. Your mindset is being sharpened. Your ability to commit is becoming stronger. All because you chose to keep doing the important things, even when they didn't excite you. Every expert was once a beginner who stayed consistent through the boring part. Every master practiced the same movements, the same skills, the same steps thousands of times. Not because they were always inspired, but because they knew that greatness is built in the spaces where most people check out. They knew that the moment something becomes boring is the exact moment it starts transforming you. If you stay with it, there will be times when the process feels stale, when you wake up and the routine feels like a loop. That's normal. That's not a sign to change everything. That's a sign to stay steady. Because on the other side of that boredom is growth. On the other side is skill. On the other side is trust. Not the trust of others, but trust in yourself. Knowing you can be counted on to stay the course. You won't always see immediate results. And that's okay. Doing what matters isn't about getting something instantly. It's about planting seeds that will grow in time. And the more you water those seeds, even on the days you feel nothing, the more powerful your harvest will be. But only if you resist the urge to quit when the work loses its thrill. You must decide that your mission is more important than your mood, that your habits matter more than how interested you feel today, that your future is shaped not by what you do when it's easy, but by what you do when it's dry, when it's dull, when no one claps and nothing moves. Because that's when discipline is formed. That's when the real progress begins to take shape. No one else will tell you to keep going when it's boring. In fact, people might suggest you change paths. They'll tell you to look for something new, something exciting. But that advice leads to a life of starting over. And if you want to finish anything worth building, you'll have to choose the steady grind over the constant chase for novelty. Some of your most productive days will be the ones that felt the most unremarkable. No big breakthrough, no huge win, just effort, just showing up, just doing the work. And if you string enough of those days together, the results will speak for themselves. Not all at once, but piece by piece, quietly, powerfully. Your job is not to feel amazing every time you act. Your job is to act because it's right, because it aligns with what you said you wanted, because you respect yourself enough to keep going, even when it's not exciting. And the moment you learn how to stay faithful to boring tasks, you unlock a level of consistency most people never reach. That's what separates the ones who talk from the ones who execute, the ones who get distracted from the ones who finish, the people who live in circles from the people who live in moment, all because they made one decision over and over again, to do what matters, especially when it feels boring. Number 8. Stick to the plan, even when doubt shows up. Doubt is one of the biggest enemies on the path to success. It sneaks in quietly and makes you question everything you believe in. When doubt shows up, it challenges your confidence and tries to convince you that the plan you made is wrong or impossible. It whispers that you're not capable, that you should give up, that you are wasting your time. But sticking to your plan in the face of doubt is what separates winners from those who never reach their potential. Doubt is natural. Everyone feels it. It's a sign you care deeply about the outcome. But if you let doubt control your actions, it will stop you from moving forward. The key is to recognize doubt for what it is: a temporary feeling, not a fact. It's an emotional reaction to uncertainty, not a verdict on your ability. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself that progress is rarely linear. Doubt will come and go, but your commitment to the plan must stay steady. When you stick to the plan, you build trust with yourself. You prove that you are reliable, even when things get uncertain. That trust grows stronger with every small step you take. Despite your fears, you start to see that the plan was not just a set of instructions, but a roadmap that keeps you on course through challenges. Following your plan, even with doubt around you, is like walking through a fog with confidence in your destination. There will be moments when doubt feels overwhelming, when you wonder if your plan is outdated or flawed, when the progress feels invisible or slower than you hoped, when other people question your direction or laugh at your goals. Those moments test your resolve. They test whether you will keep moving forward or let doubt push you backward. Choosing to stay with your plan is a choice to believe in your ability more than your fear. Many people abandon their plans at the first sign of doubt. They switch from one idea to another, looking for the perfect solution. They become victims of their own uncertainty. But success is not about finding perfect conditions. It's about making consistent effort in spite of doubt and imperfection. Sticking to your plan shows you understand this. It proves you're willing to outlast your fears and outwork your uncertainty. You must remember that no plan is perfect. No journey is without obstacles. Doubt will always be present because growth stretches you beyond your comfort zone. The plan is your anchor. It reminds you why you started and what you're working toward. The moments of doubt are like waves trying to pull you off course. Your commitment to the plan is the steady hand that holds the wheel and keeps you on the path. Doubt often attacks when you feel vulnerable or tired. That is why it's crucial to develop habits that reinforce your plan daily. Create routines that support your goals and reduce the chance for doubt to take control. When your actions become automatic, you rely less on fleeting feelings and more on consistent effort. The plan becomes your default behavior, not something you rethink when you feel uncertain. You will find that sticking to the plan builds resilience. Each time you push through doubt, you build mental strength. You teach yourself that fear and uncertainty don't have to dictate your actions. You learn how to stay focused on what matters, rather than what scares you. That is a skill that will serve you in every area of life. Even when doubt tries to make you second-guess yourself, remember how far you've come. Remember the progress that has already happened, because you stayed committed. That evidence becomes your foundation. It reminds you that your plan works, even if the results don't happen overnight. Trust in the process more than the emotions of the moment. Sticking to the plan also means giving yourself grace when things don't go perfectly. It means understanding that setbacks are part of the journey, not signs that you should quit. When you accept mistakes without losing focus, doubt loses its power. You keep moving forward with more wisdom and clarity. You become someone who can handle uncertainty without losing momentum. Surround yourself with reminders of your purpose and your why. When doubt clouds your mind, those reminders will pull you back. Write down your goals, review your progress, and visualize the results you want. These actions create positive emotions that counterbalance doubt. The stronger your emotional connection to your plan, the harder it is for doubt to shake you. Sticking to the plan when doubt appears requires courage. It means saying yes to discomfort and uncertainty instead of running from it. It means believing in your future self more than your current feelings. It means acting with faith that what you're doing today is preparing you for tomorrow. Courage is not the absence of fear, but moving forward despite it. You don't need to have all the answers to follow your plan. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to take the next step. Break your plan into small parts and focus on what you can do now. When doubt gets loud, shift your focus to the immediate task. Taking action reduces anxiety and gives you control over your progress. Remember that doubt can be a helpful signal. It can push you to evaluate your plan and make adjustments if necessary. But evaluation is different from quitting. When you approach doubt with curiosity instead of fear, you grow wiser. You become able to separate useful feedback from destructive thoughts. This kind of thinking keeps you moving forward with confidence. Some of the most successful people are those who stuck to their plans through thick and thin. They didn't give up when things got hard or unclear. They kept going when others turned back. Their consistency created momentum that made doubt fade into the background. You can do the same by choosing to honor your plan every single day. Sticking to the plan even when doubt shows up is not easy. It takes discipline and patience. It takes belief in yourself and your goals. But every time you choose the plan over the doubt, you prove that you are stronger than your fears. You show that your dreams are bigger than your worries, and you move one step closer to the success you desire. There will be days when doubt seems to shout louder than your hope. That is the exact moment you must lean into your plan harder. Take a deep breath. Look at what you have accomplished. Remember why you started. Then take the next action, no matter how small. That simple choice is what builds unstoppable momentum. Your future depends on your willingness to stay committed through uncertainty. Doubt is temporary, but the impact of your persistence is lasting. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep trusting the process. Keep doing what you said you would do, even when your mind tells you to quit. That is how you turn your plan into reality. Number 9. Believe in yourself, even when progress feels invisible. There are times on any journey when it feels like nothing is happening. You put in effort day after day, but the results don't show up the way you expected. That's when belief in yourself matters the most. You have to hold on to the conviction that your work is not wasted, even if the progress is invisible to the eye. Trust is what keeps you moving forward when the outside world seems quiet or indifferent. Believing in yourself means understanding that growth often happens beneath the surface. It's like roots stretching deep before a tree grows tall. The effort you make now is preparing you for what's coming next. Even if you don't see changes yet, you are becoming stronger, more capable, more disciplined. You are building a foundation that will support future success. That foundation is invisible, but vital. When you feel discouraged because the finish line is far away or the path unclear, remind yourself why you started. That reason fuels your belief. When doubts try to steal your confidence, you have a vision for your life and a plan to reach it. It's normal not to see immediate proof of progress, but that doesn't mean you aren't moving forward. Sometimes the most important progress is internal. Your mind will often try to trick you into giving up. It will highlight every delay, every setback, every obstacle as a sign you're failing. But those thoughts are just that. Thoughts. They don't define your worth or your potential. The difference between those who succeed and those who quit is the ability to believe beyond what is visible, to trust that consistent action leads to results, even when you can't see them yet. Belief is a choice, not a feeling. It's not something you wait to feel, but something you decide to hold on to. You may not feel confident every day, but you can decide to act confidently anyway. You may not see results every day, but you can decide to keep working with faith. That decision creates momentum. It turns small efforts into unstoppable progress. It's important to celebrate small wins, even if they seem insignificant. Every positive step reinforces your belief in yourself. It reminds you that you are capable and that your efforts matter. Recognizing those wins keeps your mind focused on what is working instead of what isn't. It's a powerful habit that builds self-trust over time. Believing in yourself also means forgiving yourself for mistakes and setbacks. Nobody's journey is perfect. You will face challenges that slow you down or knock you off course. But those moments don't erase your progress. They are part of learning and growing. When you hold on to belief through setbacks, you build resilience. You become someone who can handle anything. Surround yourself with reminders of your purpose and your achievements. Write down why you started, what you've accomplished, and where you want to go. Look at those reminders when progress feels invisible. They act as proof that you are not alone and that your journey matters. They anchor your belief in times of uncertainty. You don't have to be motivated every day to believe in yourself. Motivation comes and goes. Belief is deeper and more lasting. It comes from knowing that your identity is not tied to your current results, but to your commitment and character. You are more than your failures or delays. You are someone who can persevere no matter the circumstances. When you choose to believe in yourself despite invisible progress, you build mental toughness. You teach yourself patience and discipline. You train your mind to focus on long-term vision instead of short-term discomfort. That kind of mindset is the difference between giving up and achieving greatness. Remember that many successful people faced years of unseen effort before their breakthrough. Their belief kept them going when others doubted them. Your belief can do the same for you. It can carry you through the tough days and keep you anchored in your purpose. It can help you keep taking action, even when the world seems silent. Sometimes believing in yourself means trusting the process more than the outcome. It means understanding that not all progress is measurable immediately. Some progress is about changing how you think, how you approach problems, how you handle setbacks. That kind of progress creates a foundation that lasts long after the visible wins come. You don't need to have all the answers to keep believing. You don't need to see the whole path. You only need to take the next step with faith that the steps will add up. Each small action adds to your story and moves you closer to your goal. When you believe in yourself, you create a powerful force that carries you through uncertainty and doubt. Belief in yourself is not arrogance. It's realistic confidence in your ability to learn, adapt, and overcome. It's the foundation of persistence and courage. It's what allows you to stay consistent, no matter how slow the progress appears. Without belief, your efforts will lack meaning. With belief, your efforts become unstoppable. When progress feels invisible, you must remind yourself that every day counts, every action matters. Every choice to continue builds your future. That belief gives you strength to push forward. It turns invisible effort into visible success. It changes your story from one of doubt to one of triumph. It transforms you into someone who never quits, even when no one is watching. Number 10. Stay grounded daily by remembering your future self. Every single day presents a choice that shapes who you become tomorrow. Staying grounded means keeping a clear vision of the person you want to be and letting that vision guide your actions. It's easy to get caught up in distractions, doubts, and immediate desires. But when you remember your future self, you create a powerful connection between your present decisions and your long-term goals. This connection helps you stay focused and consistent, even when the moment feels difficult or confusing. Your future self is the person who has done the hard work and reaped the rewards. The person who is healthier, wiser, more disciplined, and successful because of the choices made today. Imagining that future self vividly pulls you out of short-term temptations and anchors you in a bigger picture. It creates a sense of responsibility and motivation that goes beyond passing feelings or circumstances. When you think about your future self, you start to understand that every action matters. The small habits you build, the decisions you make, the mindset you cultivate, all add up to the reality you will live with. It's not about perfection, but about consistent progress. Each day you either move closer to that future version or further away. Remembering your future self reminds you which path to take. The challenge is that the future self is invisible. You don't see that person clearly every day because they live ahead of you. You only experience today. That's why intentionally visualizing your future self is important. Picture who you want to become in detail. What does your life look like? How do you feel? What do you do differently? When you bring that image into your daily mind, it helps ground your action. Staying grounded means resisting impulses that pull you off course. It means saying no to instant gratification and yes to long-term fulfillment. When faced with choices that feel easier but harmful, you remember your future self and choose differently. This practice builds mental strength. It teaches you how to be patient and persistent. It reminds you that the hard choices now create freedom later. People who forget their future self often get lost in distractions. They live from moment to moment, reacting to emotions, opinions, or pressures. That lifestyle feels unstable because it lacks direction. Without grounding, it's easy to fall into habits that feel good short-term but hurt your goals. Your future self depends on you becoming aware of this trap and making deliberate decisions every day. Developing a strong connection with your future self changes how you view setbacks and failures. Instead of letting a bad day define you, you see it as just one part of a larger journey. Your future self isn't built in a day, but through resilience over time. When you remember that you can forgive yourself for mistakes and keep moving forward, that mindset keeps you grounded and focused on growth. Writing letters to your future self or journaling about who you want to be helps make this vision tangible. Reading those reminders in tough moments brings clarity and calm. You recall your purpose and the reasons behind your hard work. That reminder pulls you back when distractions or doubts threaten to take over. It's a way of checking in with yourself and realigning your focus. Another way to stay grounded is to imagine your future self giving you advice or encouragement. Picture that person thanking you for the choices you are making now. Imagine them telling you to keep going even when it's hard. This mental exercise strengthens your resolve because it builds trust and hope. You realize you are not alone in the process. You are supported by the person you are becoming. Staying grounded by remembering your future self also helps you prioritize what really matters. It becomes easier to say no to tasks, relationships, or habits that don't align with your goals. Your decisions become more intentional because you weigh them against the impact on your future. This clarity simplifies life and reduces stress. It keeps you focused on meaningful progress instead of busy work or distractions. You can also use your future self to create patience with the process. When progress feels slow or invisible, you remember that growth happens over time. You remind yourself that every consistent step is building something bigger than what you see today. This belief reduces frustration and anxiety. It keeps you steady when results are delayed or challenges arise. To stay grounded, you need to practice this connection daily. It's not enough to think about your future self once in a while. Make it part of your morning or evening routine. Spend a few minutes imagining your ideal future or reflecting on the person you want to become. Let that image influence how you start your day and how you respond to challenges. That habit strengthens your foundation for success. Remember that your future self is shaped by the habits you build now. Those habits may seem small or boring, but they have enormous power. Each choice to work hard, stay honest, and keep learning is a gift to your future self. Staying grounded means honoring those gifts by taking care of yourself and your goals consistently. It means seeing yourself as worthy of that better future. There will be moments when distractions or doubts make it hard to connect with your future self. During those times, remind yourself that everyone struggles with staying consistent. The difference is choosing to come back to the vision again and again. The future you want is waiting on the other side of your daily commitment. Staying grounded keeps you moving toward that reality. Believing in your future self is an act of faith and discipline combined. It requires imagination and action. It requires the courage to make decisions today that may not bring instant pleasure, but will bring lasting fulfillment. Staying grounded by remembering your future self is one of the strongest motivators for persistence. It reminds you that the present moment is a building block for everything to come. The person you want to be is not a distant dream, but a future created by your choices now. That means every day matters. Every action matters. Every moment you stay grounded in that vision, you create a bridge between today and tomorrow. This bridge supports you through challenges and gives you confidence in your progress. Remember your future self and let that reminder guide your life with purpose and consistency.